Hey guys, Steve here. Fanatic Perspective, coming off a blowout victory for the Philadelphia Eagles over Dallas Cowboys, 37-9. Didn't score a touchdown today. Just awful performance all the way around. Dak Prescott was terrible today. No way around it. Just just did not produce. Didn't take advantage of opportunities in the first half, and a lot of that is on Dak. I thought we had a better game plan, not a great one, obviously, but thought we had a better game plan this week than we did against Atlanta. But I think he got caught up in the Dak Carson showdown stuff, and you know, if you want to say Carson's a better player right now, then so be it. But I don't think that I think this was the first time where he played outside of himself as a quarterback. For the first time, I really saw him. One of the things that I've always appreciated about Dak since he's the short time he's been with us is I think he understands his limitations very well, and I think he understands what he can, what he's good at, and what he can't, and then playing to his strengths. And I think he understands that better than the coaches do, to be frank with you, because and I'll get to the coaches in a second. But in terms of Dak, I think today he got caught up in trying to keep pace with Carson and be the playmaker type instead of, look, stick to your guns, play within the system. I understand the system failed you last week. It's like, hey, coach, I played like I normally play last week, and things were crumbling around me. But at the same token, like, that's what makes you so good, is that you're almost robotic like in how you go about your approach in our offense. And with all that being said, Dak does have limitations. Let's just be real about it. He does have limitations. He doesn't have elite arm talent. I think some of his best traits is throwing on the run and his leadership skills. I think he's a very good leader. One of the best leaders I've seen the Cowboys have in a long time. But with all this adversity that we're facing right now, and guys being out on both sides of the ball, you can't compound the situation by making mistakes, and that's the one thing that he hasn't done until today. So very disappointing. Doesn't change how I feel about Dak at all. He's been terrific since he's been our starting quarterback, and this is going to happen. We saw, everybody's had bad games. All the greats have had bad games, but it's how you come back from it. And I know Dak's going to, put the time in, get some things buttoned up, make sure that his accuracy is better and get sharper. But the coaches have to help him out too. You cannot go out there and one of the things, I guess the way I want to say this is, the biggest difference, the biggest thing I took away from this game is the inferiority of our scheme compared to a great team like the Eagles and what they're doing schematically. Carson Wentz wasn't very sharp today either. He didn't he didn't bring his A game today. Completed 14 balls, 50% for 150, 160 yards. But him playing in a much better scheme allows him to be bailed out for certain things. The running game, getting 200 yards rushing through three different backs and having things wide open all over the place. Certain formations that they're running, which cause confusion, it overextends our defense, which makes more defined reads and throws for the quarterback. Carson Wentz is able to take advantage of that, whereas Dak Prescott is not. If you look at every single one of Dak's completions, really throughout this season, a lot of the stuff is contested. Everything we're throwing, even when Dez is coming around on those slants, it's all contested stuff. We don't draw stuff up to get people wide open. It just is what it is. Our scheme is we have to out talent guys, and if Dak is not playing his A game, then we get blown out like you saw today. That's what happens. He has to be A+ for us to be in the game. And it sucks because it's not fair to him. I mean, Carson Wentz gets, and I'm only saying this because, we played them or whatever. I don't really like comparing, but Carson Wentz gets a lot more margin to play with. A lot of margin that Dak got to play with last year. Carson's enjoying the fruits of that right now but it's also the scheme that they're running, the adjustments that they make, going to running trap in the second half, after seeing what we were doing defensively and the success that David Irving and DeMarcus Lawrence were having on the defensive line, they were predominantly the ones making the tackles. And I said, you know what? We're going to allow those guys to flow upfield, and we're going to run underneath them and deploy our center downfield to go get their middle linebacker. And it opened up massive running lanes. And so to the tune of over 200 yards rushing. Those are adjustments. That's part of their scheme. Those are things that they implement to change things up. And that's also an indictment on our coaching staff, because we've now been blown out 3 times this year. We've had 3 losses this year over 20 points. Who's that on? I mean, that at some point you have to look at the head coach and Jason Garrett. And I feel like I keep beating this horse, but we put our players in a position to where they have to be perfect. I'm still not seeing anything out there where I'm like, okay, I see how they made that switch, and if they had a little bit better personnel, then we'd really have something here. Like, there's nothing that I'm getting from Scott Linehan. For example, I believe it was 3rd and 2. We were down 2 touchdowns. We had Rod Smith in the backfield, and then we motioned Cole Beasley back there. The predictability with the personnel groupings is outrageous. Once I saw Rod Smith back there motioning Cole Beasley, I knew right away it was either some inside zone run or the quarterback was going to pull. And I guarantee you, if I keyed on that, I know that the Eagles front did as well, and that's exactly what happened. Because when you do something like that, when you run a gadget play like that on 3rd and 2, the defense knows. I've watched this offense all year. There's no flare pass or anything that they're going to do or pitching the ball to Cole Beasley, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm running the ball over Jonathan Cooper instead of over Zach Martin and Travis Frederick. It's just frustrating because that play gets blown up, and it's a play that shouldn't have even been run. That's not putting your guys in the best position. When you start the game after last week of never running the ball to the left, and then this game you consistently are still running the ball to the right, which you should do a lot, but you also still have to have some sort of balance to cut out that pass rush on this, or just make him work. So we're not balanced in that regard. When we have Alfred Morris in the game, it's pretty predictable that 80% of the time we're going to run some sort of inside zone or stretch play for him to cut back. When Rod Smith is in the game, it's more 80% chance we're going to pass, and out of certain formations too. So they have to make some of that stuff up, because if I'm keying on it here in my apartment, I know defensive coordinators are keying on this very, very easily. Whereas if you look at the Eagles' personnel groupings and packages, they dress stuff up so well. I mentioned earlier they went to the trap play, which was the play that blew this whole game open. If I go back and look at the tape, I guarantee you they never ran that trap play out of the same formation. They were running the same play, but they were running out of a different formation or motioning somebody, doing all sorts of stuff, all smoke and mirrors, but I'm hitting you with the same play. And that's some stuff we have to get addressed if we're going to move forward with this coaching staff. We probably are. We have no say in what Jerry decides to do. But, do we miss Ezekiel Elliott? Yes. Do we miss Tyron Smith? Yes. But coaches all over the league, people are dealing with injuries. There's no next man up mentality with this group. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I didn't see Jordan Hicks out there. I didn't see Jason Peters out there. They just got Jay Ajayi a couple weeks ago. You're playing with Corey Clement. These aren't guys, LeGarrette Blount was a free agent acquisition, but these aren't guys that were world beaters all over the place. LeGarrette Blount's been a very good player in this league and is a champion, obviously, but these aren't guys that, it's not like a Ezekiel Elliott situation. But the way we utilize our players is we either have to have a superstar that can carry the whole load, or we've got nothing. And I saw this with the Tony Romo era, where Tony had to play his absolute best for us to have a chance. And right now, I'm starting to see that with Dak Prescott, and it's sad. It's sad, and it's frustrating, and it needs to change. It needs to change. But I don't have anything else other than that. I mean, we'll see what happens against the Chargers. They're a hot football team coming in. Very, very good pass rush, as you saw today against Buffalo. So, we're 5-5. We're still in the playoff chase. We still have, I think, a little bit of a lighter schedule, but adjustments have to be made. Dak's got to play better, and he's got to get out of his head of this ranking element and just be the best him possible. And if the best him possible, if they still call you a game manager, they call you a game manager. But at the end of the day, it's about winning, and we got to get back to that winning mentality that we had last season, because it is a mentality as well. I really, really believe that. But we'll see. I would like to make a big victory video on Thanksgiving, but I'm thankful for win or loss. I'm thankful for being a Cowboys fan and having this opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys. So see you guys on Thanksgiving for the Cowboys. Probably have a couple other videos on some other topics before then. But as always, like, share, and subscribe, and thank you.